at energeticcity.ca. Welcome to This Week in the Peace, a show dedicated to the people, events, and news of BC's Peace region. Here's your hosts, Dub Craig and Steve Berard.
Well, good morning to you. I am Dub Craig. Steve, unfortunately, could not be here today. Now, I'm very happy because we have two guests today talking about one thing. Now, if you're going to attend the Moose FM block party tomorrow, brought to you by Remax and Moose Media. By the way, it happens from 11 a.m. till 3 p.m. along 100th Street between 100 and 103rd Avenues. And you happen to wander by the Moose FM building, you're going to notice that there's a mural going up on the side of our building in the alleyway there. And that mural is being created by local artists who have been registered to be part of the Mural Mentorship Program, which was created by the city of Fort St. John with its artist in residence, Francine Freeman. To tell us all about the program and how the mural is shaping up, we're joined now by Victoria Butler of the city of Fort St. John's Arts and Culture Department and local artist and mentorship participant, Simone Olanski. Good morning to you, Victoria.
Good morning. How are you, Deb?
I'm very well. Thank you for asking. And good morning to you, Simone.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for both of you for being here. Let's start with the Arts and Culture Department of the city, first of all. We were talking before the show started, Victoria. You guys have had a very busy summer doing lots of different things.
Yeah.
What's kind of your mandate in arts and culture? What are you about there?
Oh, that's a big question. So it changes from year to year, obviously. Arts is always evolving. Culture is always evolving. So our focus this year has been public art. So a lot of people have seen the bike racks that have been out in the community. Yeah. So that was, art call that we hosted last year, and we had a variety of artists participate, and they submitted designs, and then they finally got installed this year. So You'll see them. There's the mountains that are by the pool. Yep. There's the honeycombs by Festival Plaza.
Yeah, there's a caterpillar at King Park. We're there all the time, so we saw when that one went in.
So functional art, it's a way to connect people to place. It's a way to connect people to art, while having the community have a say in what art's going to look like in Fort St. John. Some of the other projects we've been rolling out are the utility box wraps that have gone in. There's been a few. They're not quite all done, but you'll see a few along 100th Street by he was a local artist. His artist name is Toefish. Josh Leclerc is his
given
name. Yeah. So Eliza Stanford has a box wrap as well. And now we're working on the mural that's just going to be on the outside wall by Moose FM. So we're pretty excited about the direction that our department has gone in the last little bit for public art.
I'm not going to say it wasn't noticeable before, but it feels like, especially in the last year, there's been lots of this stuff going on. So where did that come from? Was that like something council said they wanted to do more of, or the just city management was like, we'd got some money, we'd like to push kind of the creation of public art more in our city to make the city more beautiful, honestly?
Honestly, it's a really collaborative approach. It's not just city. It's not just community members. It's also organizations like the Arts Council, for example. They've done a lot of groundwork on developing what public art will look like, as we have collaborated with them, and then local business and, investing in the downtown. There's just a whole lot of aspects to public art in general that people often don't think about. So I wouldn't say that it was all council or all arts council. I think it's been a really great collaborative approach on how we interact with art in general. And for Fort St. John, what we've seen and what we've experienced is when it comes to art, it's really important for the community to connect with it. So that's like the tunnel and optic and impulse. When we had those interactive public art pieces, it really allows the end user to connect with public art. So I would say that we have a really supportive council right now, and it really does connect people to place. And that's kind of what we want to see in Fort St. John moving forward, is connecting people to the spaces that they live and grow and play in.
Absolutely. And I should say those a couple of those installations just talked about were kind of around the time of High on Ice the past couple of seasons. So, okay. Well, let's talk about the Artist in Residence program too, because again, Francine Freeman's sort of the mentor, if you want to call it that, in this Mural Mentorship Program. I think you were saying this is maybe the 4th year or something that the city's
I'd
had
have to go back and look at it. We've done it for a few iterations now, and it's been, a program that really, I don't want to say finds gaps in the community, because that's maybe not the right way to look at it, but looks at a need for art, whether that's, Indigenous art or youth workshops. And we've had a variety of different artists take part. So that program is to explore a medium with an organization or a collective of artists and see how we keep it in the community, how we grow it, and maybe how we encourage other organizations to take over certain projects or programs so that it can live in the community if it's going well, and it's not all on the city to offer these programs, that we grow it so that it lives organically in the community.
I think, part of this, we'll get to the mentorship program, right, is it's not so simple that if you have a blank wall, you could slap paint on it, right? There's a process you have to go through. And that's really what this mentorship program is a little bit about, is not just the creation of the art itself, but also how do you get to a point where you're doing it safely and within sort of bylaw sort of parameters and all that too. Before we get to the program itself, and I know a bit of the story behind this, but tell us a bit about how it came to be that the sort of first mural, as far as I know, the first mural that this program's kind of being a part of, is going to be on the Moose Media, the Moose FM building kind of wall in the alleyway. How did that end up happening?
It was through another program, through economic development. They host a business facade program. So the Mayor Standing Committee and then NDIT, they support and fund a grant opportunity for local businesses to upgrade or enhance their facade, so the front of their building. So Moose FM or Moose Media, I should say, had applied for that facade program and had inquired about, what does it look like for murals? In the background, I had already been working with Francine. She's done some other art pieces in town, like the Sea Can down at the North Peace Arena.
This is the one when the Fort Nelson. Yes, okay. Because Francine, I believe, is from and lives in Fort Nelson. Yeah.
So she had visited us during that transition time and had come back and worked on that mural. She's done the mini murals on the cement barricades by the Kids Arena.
Okay, yeah.
As well as on 100th and 100th, the green space. Again, just finding elements of art in, small learning, I guess, spaces where we can kind of test things out, see if there's going to be graffiti, see how the community feels about it. So far, it's been fairly positive. We haven't experienced any graffiti, knock on wood, yet, so that's been a good piece. So when Moose Media had reached out about potentially looking at a mural, and I was already working with Francine to host a mentorship as part of the Artist in Residence, it kind of just all came together. Yeah. And then I connected with the Arts Council to help with an artist call, because they have the connections to our arts community. So it's really this huge collaborative approach between local government, business, economic development, arts and culture, our nonprofit groups as well, our local artists, to really grow our local capacity to do more murals, hopefully, in the future. So that's kind of how it all came to be. And it's been a really, so far, so good. Like, it's been a really good process on the stuff you don't see, like behind the scenes, the safety plans, the traffic plans, all of those things that nobody sees. It's been a really good supportive group to work with.
Absolutely. We're going to take a commercial break in just a minute here, but I do want to make sure I get to you as well, Simone. It seems like you're going to be sort of second half heavy in this interview. But just in terms of you, I know you've done some work with the city before. You were telling me before you did some linotype kind of workshops. I think I got that name right. You're not shaking your head. So, tell me a bit about that. Just sort of, your previous sort of experience in doing public art or working with the city and sort of sharing and making art with people with the programs that the city offers.
I mean, I have a printmaking background. I went to school for visual arts. And when I moved back to Fort St. John, Victoria reached out to me about showing people how to do lino cuts, which is basically stamp making in its simplest form.
I see.
And it was really great. I got to show like a bunch of age groups how to do this really cool art process that's been around for a very long time. In, you know, simplified ways, we used rubber instead of wood or hard linoleum, but it was still really cool to see what people were able to come up with, because it's something that you don't usually see as like an art workshop.
And we worked with kids with that one as well. So it was really interesting to have such a, you know, a predominantly adult medium to work with, transfer over to children and see them work with, you know, sharp tools. And they did so good. And it's just, you're giving them that freedom, and Simone did great.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break here. Again, we're going to talk more with you, I promise, Simone.
Okay.
Right after this, and also more with Victoria Butler, all about the Mural Mentorship Program, right after this on This Week in the Piece.
Swing by Just Jack's Restaurant and treat yourself to our Irish Delights lunch buffet every Friday. All the flavors you love and all you can eat for just $16. Think of it as fast food, but jazzed up with a delicious Irish twist that's far from the usual. Come on over and dig in.
Blankets, hoodies, fireplaces. They're all great for staying warm this winter. But if you want to immerse yourself in warmth, head to Arctic Spas Fort St. John. Canadian made for the world's harshest climates, Arctic Spas are the best-selling hot tub in Canada, and you'll save the PST on all new spas. Stop in and see their lineup of in-stock tubs today at Arctic Spas Fort St. John. Locally family-owned and operated in the BC Peace since 1998 on 100th Street and at ArcticHotTubsFortSt.John.com.
It's prime garage sale time at Fort St. John Home Hardware Building Center, and this year we're taking it into the greenhouse. Drop in today to find massive savings from 40 to 70% off. Every corner is packed with deals, and once they're gone, they are gone. Home Hardware Fort St. John, locally owned, genuinely Canadian.
Are you ready to rise? The 2025 Spark Women's Leadership Conference, Rise Next Level Strategies for Success, is happening on October 8th and 9th, and registration is now open. Join us in person or via live stream for 2 days of powerful insights, inspiring speakers, and career-changing opportunities. Don't miss your chance to connect, grow, and rise to your next level of success. Secure your spot today at sharingthespark.com before registration closes on October 7th.
The Moose FM Block Party, presented by Remax and Moose Media, is back tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can visit the Architect Weldon Kids Zone for family-friendly fun. The Murray GM Arts Market will be home to dozens of local small businesses throughout the day, and the City of Fort St. John stage will have local performers thanks to MLA Jordan Keeley. We'll have a selection of food trucks thanks to Triton Tool Services, cupcakes and swag thanks to the Fort St. John Co-op, and more. Join us tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the Moose FM Block Party presented by Remax. Thanks to this year's supporting sponsors, Northern Lights College, United Safety Limited, Pomeroy Hotel Group, Grimes Well Servicing, Sound in Town, and System Sound Source.
West 6th Construction is hiring. Join a team that values quality and integrity. West 6th Construction is looking for journeyman carpenters and an experienced construction estimator. Apply today. Head to west6th.ca. That's west6th.ca.
You can watch this show live on Facebook, catch the replays at energeticcity.ca, or be part of the show by texting your thoughts to the Fort City Chrysler line at 250-787-2222.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Dub Craig, again joined by Victoria Butler of the City of Fort St. John and Simone Olanski, a local artist who is part of the Mural Mentorship Program that the city is putting on and that they're painting on the side of the Moose Media building. Simone, we were talking a bit about your kind of work with the city previously. Let's talk about you getting involved in this mentorship program. I could be wrong, but this seems like something very different than maybe you've done before in terms of your journey as an artist, making a mural, is it not?
Absolutely. It's not necessarily something that you learn at school or, even at post-secondary. It's kind of one of those niche things that you stumble into or you go out looking for.
Yeah.
In my case, I was lucky enough that the city was putting this on, and I had multiple people send me this application to do it, and I thought, how exciting would it be to learn how to paint large scale like that?
Yeah.
To learn how to take care of it, to learn to prep the wall, to make sure that everything I'm doing is, up to scale, and I'm not making anybody mad by just painting on a wall. It's a really cool process, and it's really useful for artists. I think that lots of young artists should look at these programs that are being offered and really try their best to get into doing them, because it opens so many more doors.
Yeah.
Knowing how to do things in the art world is crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it merely a matter of scaling up an idea that maybe you would have put on a canvas, a standard size canvas before, to now it's got to be 10 feet by 5 feet? Is it merely that, or is there a lot more to it than just, I'm making it bigger, the idea I had?
In a sense, you do have to take into consideration the size of the wall and the dimensions of it, because the wall here at Moose Media is very long. And if I were to do a design that was maybe more tall, I would kind of have to rethink that, because the larger you scale something, it's not necessarily going to be in proportion, or it's not going to fit the space that you have for it. So you really do have to think, what can I put in this particular space?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to take a moment to mention another mural that's gone up recently over on the Treaty 8 building. I don't know how involved anyone was in on that one at all, really, but I just think it's very cool that we've got that mural that went up, which honestly kind of started as a project to cover up the obscenities and whatnot that were spray painted on the side of that building earlier this year. And now they've got a second kind of big mural project happening in the city. Did you see that mural sort of happening? And was there anything you learned from it, even from afar, just seeing it kind of being done, even though, again, it's very different in terms of, I think that building's 2 stories tall at least, so you could go taller and sort of, less wide than the Moose FM kind of side of the building.
Yeah, I remember reading what the artist was saying about it as it was going up. I kind of was following what was happening, and they had mentioned that circles were a really big challenge for them, because circles especially at that size, how are you going to get a perfect circle on the wall? And then, here we are with circles on our wall. So I think it's awesome to see people approaching big projects like that and sharing the same kind of problems and problem solving in different ways. And I think that mural turned out amazing. I think it looks wonderful.
It's quite beautiful.
I mean, it really does. It's a wonderful job, and I apologize. I can't give credit to the artist because I don't have her name right in front of me, so my apologies for that. Last question on that. Weather becomes a factor when you're doing public art outside, right? Which is not necessarily something you maybe think about when you're huddled over in your studio or on your computer kind of creating things inside. So I don't know that that's been kind of something that's affected this project yet, really, but can you talk a bit about that and sort of being prepared for, we have a timeline, but it might rain, or in our case in Fort St. John, it might snow.
Don't say that. It's September. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think the biggest thing was how hot it was going to be.
Yeah.
And to make sure that we had adequate, water and sun cover, sunscreen, make sure our heads are covered, take breaks. Working, I mean, at one point in my youth, I used to work as a house painter. It's very same. Like, if it's raining, there's not a lot you can do, especially if you're painting. So you kind of wait it out and get as much done as you can when the weather's nice.
Smoke actually came up last weekend. I was starting to get worried about the smoke, and it was again with this process is we're learning too as a municipality what we need to be looking out for. Luckily, the smoke index wasn't too high that we needed to cancel anything, but it's just another reminder that all of these weather impacts can delay a project. So the earlier you start, maybe the better. And now we're encroaching into fall. So
yeah, absolutely. The paint, is it sort of the same paint that was, say, used to just paint the wall down and it's just in different colors? Or is even the paint used kind of a little different from what you would just slap on a wall to make it white, I suppose, a concrete wall?
Well, we're not using just like paint or acrylic tape or paint that you would find at the art store. It's paint that's going to hold up outside. Yeah, it's exterior paint.
Yeah. Interesting.
And then we have a sealant that we'll put on top of it to protect it, hopefully for a couple of years, and protect it from fading in the sun as well. So that's the tail end of the project.
Yeah.
That Simone gets to work on.
And then it's you, Simone, and I believe 2 other artists, and then of course Francine's sort of mentoring all 3 of you. So how does that work in terms of the creation of what's going to be there? Did you all collaborate to make one kind of big piece, or is kind of each part going to be separate from each other in terms of what's going to actually be on there when it's complete in a couple weeks?
The design that kind of ended up being chosen was definitely a collaborative piece. Like, we all went away and we did our thumbnails, which are baby sketches of just getting an idea on the paper. And then you kind of pick from there and solidify an idea. And then we all came together. We had Zoom calls because Francine was in Fort Nelson. And, you know, it's hard to meet up when you're that far away. But everybody kind of came together with an idea. And then we all pushed them together and made what we have now. And I think it's going to look really good.
It is going to look really good. The thumbnails really pulled elements of each design that spoke to the individual artist. That's my take on it anyway, and Simone can correct me if I'm wrong. But we have a young artist. She's 16, Sophie.
Wow. Cool.
Quite talented. You know, one of the images was a guitar, but she's a violinist. So she said, "Can we do a violin?" And we're like, "Yeah, of course. Like, absolutely." Like, it speaks to her. Simone's pieces, she can speak to her elements, but again, reminds me, I've worked with Simone in the past. Quirky and fun and bright and colorful. It's just been a really great. Francine's really tapped into each individual artist and has been able to bring the design together.
Yeah.
And that's what a good teacher does, right? So it's been a great... Anyway, Simone can talk to her elements. I thought they were great. So,
well, one of the things that Francine, 3 things, said about the mural was music, community, and vibrant were 3 of our keywords that we wanted to incorporate.
Sort of like themes, or at least use these to inspire you.
Exactly. And so I feel like everybody really hit one of those things, or at least one of those things. I was pretty focused on like the people part of it. I don't want to spoil it. Yeah. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But like, it's just like movement and people and vibrancy to me really came across. And that's what's in there now.
I see. Yeah. Very cool. And you're going to be out there painting tomorrow in theory while the block party's happening?
I am.
Okay. Is everyone sort of working on their piece at the same time? I know, again, working here, I could see there's a bit of paint up. You could see some outlines of things. Again, I couldn't tell what it was because I don't want to get myself spoiled, right? But is that sort of everyone's working on it kind of at the same time to kind of get it done?
With like the nature of things, sometimes people won't be available for certain days, but everybody's really coming together to work on it as one collaborative piece. So it's not people working on just their thing or just one spot. It's kind of work as a group to get the whole done.
Yeah. And you're working from the back to the front as well, like you do in any, artscape, any medium that you're working in. So they're all working on the back and working their way to the front. So the background's the first thing that
I
is
see.
up
Okay.
there.
Gotcha. I thought you meant the back of the building.
No,
I don't understand.
the background.
I'm an idiot. Anyway.
I'm here all day.
To you then, Victoria, I mean, I don't want to look too far ahead, but I kind of do. I mean, this is just a one-off for now, or is there other buildings in town? I mean, I can look out the window and see
There's
a few
lots
of
of buildings in town that could use a lovely little mural.
Is that already has some thought been given to that already as to, you have 3 artists this round, but can we keep doing this and keep getting more artists involved and beautify the entire town?
Absolutely. I think that's been the focus for this year for artists in residence, is to train and educate local artists to enhance this program into the future with support from Arts Council, local business. I don't know what it'll look like. We're learning for this year, but the goal, I think, is to have individuals like Simone and Francine and Sophie and Barb. Barb's coming this weekend. We finally get to have her with us. to learn about the process, and hopefully down the road, if a business wants to put a mural up, we have information and data that we can share with them. Here's what we learned. Here's what you need to do. Here's what to look out for. And then hopefully have murals coming up in the community. And then how do we divest of them? So how do we decommission a piece of art with respect to the artist when it's no longer relevant or no longer in good standing to keep up on the wall? So there's lots of pieces to it.
Yeah. So meaning essentially, it's I don't know the time frame, but a piece of art lasts 25 years. It's starting to wear its age, or as you say, it's just no longer relevant. So how do we deal with that when that inevitably
while giving honor to the artists who worked on it, and respecting that this has been their time and this is their intellectual property, and all of those pieces that come into play when you're navigating somebody's property, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question. Timeline-ish. What's kind of the hope we're going to be done by date, if we have one for this?
That's probably a me question.
That is a you question, yep.
So the group will be out there this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. By all means, especially with the block party, it's a great time to stop in and chit-chat with them. There will be barricades up. So just keep the kiddos out, keep the kiddos maybe fingers out of the paint. They see colors, they go towards it. We won't be on site next weekend. We will be on site the 20th, 21st-ish weekend. And then we're holding the final weekend in September, just as a placemaker in case we need it.
Okay. So the hope is definitely by October this project will
and
be.
then we'll seal it after that.
Yeah.
And Simone, I think, will primarily work on that part of the project. You're welcome.
Now you know.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's a wonderful program. I'm glad it's on our building, and I look forward to being able to walk by it every day when it's done, and just to see kind of it being created over the next few weeks. And I really appreciate both of you coming by to chat with me about it today. Thank you so very much.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, it was fun.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
You're very welcome. That was Simone Olanski and Victoria Butler here to talk about the Mural Mentorship Program. Big thanks to them for coming by again, and thank you for joining us today. You can listen to this show again by checking out the podcast at energeticcity.ca/podcast. We'll store this and future episodes there as we make them. Make sure if you got some time to check out the Before the Peace podcast as well. We produce that right here in-house. That's our show. I'm Dub Craig. Be well.
Join us again next Friday morning at 10 for another edition of This Week in the Peace, your weekly talk show dedicated to the people, events, and news of BC's Peace Region. Or you can listen to this podcast again at energeticcity.ca.
Northern